Yes, this is exciting stuff, exciting news. The Asiri, let me say that one more time. The Asiri is a brand new universe. This has nothing to do with the unique universe. It has nothing to do with Malika, Ian, EXO. This is a fresh, out of the gates, volume one that launches a brand new universe.
Welcome to the YouNeek Show, where we talk about all things YouNeek Studios, African geekdom, and the business of creators.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to YouNeek Show. My name is Roye Okupe, CEO and founder of YouNeek Studios. Jay, introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
Jay Abaje here, Niger Nerds founder and super fan of YouNeek Studios products. How you all doing?
It's been a while. It's been too long, but for good reason, right?
Yeah, yeah, good reason. And before we do anything, I think this is the truth because we've been such a long time. Many people may have forgotten who the heck you are. Like,
I hope not. But yes, let me reintroduce myself again. My name is Roye Okupe. A lot of you would probably know me from the Iyanu Child of Wonder graphic novels, which is now being adapted as an animated series on Cartoon Network and Max, being produced by Lionforge Entertainment. We'll talk more about that later because I know the next question is where is it at? When is it supposed to come out? Blah blah blah. So we'll deal with all of that later. But also, some of you probably also know me from Malika Warrior Queen or EXO Legend of Wally Williams. But yeah, it's fun to be back here doing what honestly really matters to me, which is coming out to talk about not just Unique Studios and what we're up to, but just how amazing our fans are and just generally answering questions that I know that people always want to hear in terms of okay, where are we with things with our graphic novels and some of the behind the scenes exclusives that people always look forward to.
so YouNeek Studios does at this point they're positioning to do everything. You guys are positioning to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Comic books,
Yeah,
animation.
yeah,
I know that there's dreams long term. We're going to see live action versions of these characters. Someone like me, my
yes.
first exposure to characters like EXO was the little animated clip I saw somebody share. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I came across the comic books and thought, this is really cool. Like this is
Yeah,
an interesting approach of storytelling and localizing it to Nigeria
yeah.
or your version of Nigeria, which
Mm-hmm.
honestly I think I'd like to live there more than
Don't we all?
yeah. But what's been going on? I know we'll get into the talk about Ianu and all that
Yeah,
because
correct.
Ianu is right now the tip of the spear, right?
Yes,
So, what's
yes.
the latest update on Ianu? Is there anything you want to spill? Anything you want to tell us? What's going on?
Yeah, so we were last day we were at New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
We shared some behind the scenes exclusive images, which was awesome. That was really the first time we got a chance to show anybody all the stuff that we've been working on for almost 2.5 years now.
Mhm.
And then a couple of weeks ago we were at the Schaumburg Black Comic Book Fest, which was fantastic. We did another panel. We actually had one of the directors on the show as
Oh,
part of the panel as well. So we went more in depth about not just so here's what you can see, but like here's what the process of animation looks like, and here's all the steps that we're taking currently where we are in production. So it was fun to interact with people in that aspect, as well. But Ianu, everything is moving forward. Everything is going well. It's a lot of hard work, which is why you haven't seen my face in a while, but it's something that I'm super grateful for. The industry right now is in a whole lot of flux. There's so many things going on, so many doubts, so many shifts. To be able to just be on a project that's moving forward, that's going to air, that's a huge blessing. So first of all, I'm thankful to Cartoon Network, to Max, to Lionforge Entertainment to give me the opportunity to executive produce, be the creator on this animated series is something that I think is just fantastic. But yes, Iana is moving forward. I think our next appearance, I can't give a spoiler about when that would be, but please follow Unique Studios at YouNeek Studios on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever it's being called now, Threads, we're everywhere, Facebook, to be the first to know when there's more details about, because this year we're going to be showing a lot more. You're going to see a lot more behind the scenes footage, a lot more of the artwork and everything that we're doing on YAM. So make sure you follow us to be the first to know when next you can get more exclusives.
Fantastic. You talked about the industry being in flux. One of the things that's happening that I personally am a big fan of is those partnerships you mentioned. The partnerships happening where people and organizations in the West, you talked about Cartoon Network, shout out to them. You talked about Dark Horse. I think that partnership is also really, really a great one that's been but because on the broader scale, you're hearing like the whole industry was, thrilled to see the work that Disney themselves have been doing.
Yes.
So those kinds of partnerships, a rising tide lifts all boats, I guess.
Correct.
So as all of this is happening, the opportunities are there for African creatives. Partner with these organizations to get a bigger platform to grow. And I love it. It's really great. I don't know if you want to go into some more details. Anything new happening with Dark Horse that we should maybe pay attention to? Or
so a lot of people don't know. So I started off with Dark Horse. I think it was 2020 when we announced it, or 2021. I can't even remember. That whole COVID era was just, I don't think anybody remembers what day, when, blah blah blah. Like, it's all a blur for all of us. But I believe it was January 2021 that we announced a 10-book deal with Dark Horse. But a lot of people don't know is that I think a little over a year after that, Dark Horse extended that 10-book deal by an additional 20 books.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Again, just really very humbled by the support that I'm receiving from one of the top, if not the top 3 publishers in the entire world. And it just goes to show you how much, not just Dark Horse, but I think the industry is starting to pay attention to these type of stories that we as Africans and Nigerians, that we've all thought that, like, if somebody gave us the opportunity, people wanted to see this type of stories on a global scale. So yes, I think the 10th book was released in when was the Oloris? Again, I'm so bad with this. I think the Oloris I think that came out in February. It was January, yes, or 2024. That was actually the 10th book, which honestly, on its own, that's a huge milestone. To be able to deliver 10 graphic novels. And I'm not talking about 30-page books, 60. This is minimum of 120. Like, I've never gone below about 110 pages. Malika Volume 1 was 324 pages. To be able to deliver over close to 2,000 pages of content in the span of
you guys are like the Netflix of content. I don't have to read one and wait the next episode. I get it now. Once it's a chunk of stuff to take in, and I love that about you guys. Let's touch on the content you've produced, because I mean, so this is a quick recap. How many different graphic novels do you have right now? Like, what's the slate, the YouNeek Studios slate?
So there's 10 currently in market now. We started with Malika Volume 1, then we went to EXO Volume 1, then Iyanu Volume 1. But ever since then, those were the 3, and then Windmaker Volume 1. Those were the 4 main 10 poles under the YouNeek universe, in terms of the series that we're pushing out there. So we started with Volume 1 of each of these stories. And ever since then, there's been a Malika Volume 2, there's been a Windmaker Volume 2, there's been an EXO Volume 2 as well. And then we did Iyanu Volume 1, 2, and 3. And then we did the whole cumulative thing where we brought all of these heroes together in the Oloris Volume 1, which it was a monumental achievement, to be honest with you, to be able to have all these individual series where people can read the books without having to even think about the other stories. So if you were just a fan of Malika, you could have read Malika Warrior Queen, which is a historical fantasy story that takes place in pre-colonial medieval West Africa. And what I wanted to do with Malika was show this is how Africa looked before colonialism, and some of the beauty and some of the the chaos too that ensued during that time as well. And then EXO, obviously, that's an Afrofuturist superhero story that takes place in the futuristic Lagos, Nigeria. Windmaker is an urban fantasy story, that sort of showcases titular hero, the Windmaker, who has the power to manipulate the wind. And then obviously Yanu, the big star of the show, is an action adventure fantasy story that takes place in a fictional version of Yoruba land. Yoruba land is actually a real place that exists, but our version is a fictional version. So yeah, all these stories are accumulated into the Oloris, which is essentially like our Avengers. That's an oversimplification, but obviously just to give people an idea, that's sort of what we brought together. And the book is fantastic. The reviews are insane on Amazon. So if you haven't checked any of them out, please go ahead and take it up. Take a look.
Quick side question. And yes, please go to Amazon, look it up, look up the works of YouNeek Studios. You will not be disappointed. Like I said, you're talking about the Netflix of comic books here. A lot of this stuff is bulk. There's a whole lot of stuff to take in, and great storytelling and world building. We'll touch on that. Yeah. Did you, at the time when you were coming up with Yanu, think, yeah, this is the one that's going to bust things wide open?
I did not, actually. That's a funny story. I thought it was going to be Malika. But that's the way life works, right? You just never know, right? Like, I knew all my books are special to me, and I don't do anything haphazardly. I don't do anything halfway. Right. I only know how to give 100% or more. So I put that into each and every story. But to be honest with you, Malika was the one that was getting all of the buzz. As soon as that came out, everybody was like, we need live action, we need animation, we need anime, we need this, we need video games, we need that. But when Yanu came out, it got a lot of buzz as well too. Actually, when Yanu came out, it was the highest that we've ever made on Kickstarter. Wow. But I still felt like Malika would be the one that would be first out of the gates in terms of being adapted. But again, you just never know how it's going to work.
You never know. So what's the latest graphic novel, and how does it fit into the universe?
Yes, this is exciting stuff, exciting news. The Asiri. Let me say that one more time. The Asiri is a brand new universe. This has nothing to do with the YouNeek universe. It has nothing to do with Malika, Yanu, EXO. This is a fresh, out of the gates volume 1 that launches a brand new universe. And just to give you the log line and the elevator page, the Asiri is essentially, for me, I've always fantasized about telling a story, putting Africans in space. If you look at all of the space opera, you look at all of the sci-fi movies or TV series that take place in space, it's almost like there's never an African. Not to talk, it's like there's never one African on the shuttle or anything like that. Not to talk about Africans actually putting themselves in space. But yeah, the Asiri is essentially, it's a space opera story where an advanced civilization of West Africans essentially conquers space. Right. But then they get too comfortable because of expansion, and with expansion, comes conflict, and then there's a civil war that's essentially cracks the entirety of space and time. And that's how our story sets off with the Asiri. I always try to tell people it's essentially like X-Men meets the Attack on Titan. And to me, like there's no, if you love X-Men 97, which is killing it right now, and if you love Attack on Titan, put those two things together, put all of that space stuff in, put all of that drama in space, and then you have the Asiri.
One of the coolest, and by the way, you're very correct about the fact that African presence on most star-spanning, galaxy-spanning storytelling that we see on screen is not really a thing. I would give a small shout out to Star Trek, though. Their more recent stuff almost all has some African person in it, which is
yeah.
So, thank you, Star Trek. Having said that, the Asiri books, I just started reading it. Thanks for giving me that sneak preview. This is one of the reasons why I love doing it. You got to get all these sneak previews of some of these things. And the Asiri is amazing stuff. People can't wait. I mean, they should be eager. I can tell you, once they start, you're going to love it. When does it drop?
It drops in June. So as of this time, it's in about 2 months. It's gonna be launching middle of June. I believe June 19th is when it's coming out.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's available pre-order though. People can get it.
Oh yes, please. I forgot to. I'm always good at marketing my stuff. I must be very tired this morning. Yes, please pre-order on Amazon. Go to your local comic book shop, obviously, when it comes up. But yeah, you can also pre-order it on Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. You can get it on Target, Walmart. If you're in Europe, if you're in the UK, you can probably pre-order it as well on Amazon. Look, anywhere you get your books, anywhere you pre-order your books, you'll be able to pre-order this one. And again, I always have to remind people, a lot of people say, well, what's the point of pre-ordering when I can just get it when it comes out? Like for people like us who are independent, the pre-orders are like gold, essentially, because what that does is that it shows not just the algorithm, but it shows the publisher and the distributor that people are taking a lot of interest in this book before it comes out. And what happens when that happens? They start to put it out more. They start to market it more. It gets more exposure online. It climbs the charts in Amazon, and it helps people like us who, again, have to sift through the bigger giants in this industry. And so if you love, comics by, Nigerian creators like myself, African creators like myself, if you want to see more stories like this, pre-orders actually go a long, long way.
They do. A lot of fans don't understand the business side of this. For example, that's why people complain and say, hey, why was this show canceled? I watched it. But if you didn't watch it when it dropped, thing that you can't pre-order a show on streaming. But you watch it when it drops, and that's a signal to the business people that, okay, this is something we can count on and we can measure. We can track the performance of this. So the same thing with the books. Pre-orders are really a great way to support your favorite African and Nigerian artists and creators. So please go and pre-order the Asiri. Now, I will say this. When reading it, I remember thinking, wow, these guys are immense. And these guys are these guys are impressive. How would they play with some of the other, like I can already think of some I like to see fights between, like, okay, if this person what would this look like? But now that we know it's not part of the universe, that is, on the one hand, for me, it's a little disappointing. But on the other hand, now I'm curious, like, why did you make that decision to create these two separate worlds?
It was actually tough because initially I wanted to make the Asiri part of the YouNeek universe. That was something that I thought about for a very, very long time. But from my own perspective, right, I felt it was time to sort of like go back to ground zero. And I didn't want to shoehorn this massive universe expanding story into an already existing universe. I felt like I wouldn't be doing justice to the Asiri or the YouNeek universe by trying to squeeze these two things into one universe. I felt like the story of Asiri is so expansive that it deserves its own its own breadth in terms of like space to grow, and especially with a story that expands, throughout the galaxy, right? That's it. That's just, it's huge. And to me, I think one of the things that you can sometimes do is overcomplicate story. And the more you try to intertwine, let's tie 100 characters together, the more you sort of like water down how special these individual characters are. So to me, I think there's this is just my own personal opinion. It's not objective. I think there's a line to be drawn, because I know nowadays everybody's like universe, connected cinematic universe. I think there's a line to be drawn in terms of just how much of that stuff you do, because you still, at the end of the day, people want stories and characters that they can fall in love with without having to do too much math in terms of where does this guy fit in here, where does that guy fit in here. And I think putting the Asiri into the YouNeek universe would have overcomplicated things in a way that wouldn't have benefited the reader.
Yeah. Honestly, those are some amazing characters. So I can't lie. Like, I remember when I was reading it and I saw the first time I saw General Ankor just flex. I'm like, wait, what? When General Ankor flexes, I'm like, I'm using the word flex. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But when he first makes his move, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, we can. I mean, in future podcasts we'll talk about individual characters, but we'll get there. We'll get there in future.
How many volumes can people expect for the Asiri?
So right now, obviously, volume 1 is coming out in June. In my head, there's 10 volumes planned. Just thinking about it almost makes me want to cry because I don't know how I'm going to get all of that out. But yeah,
we have 2 reactions. You said 10 volumes. Great.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Get off this call. Go back to work. Get a
But no, I already and this is something that I feel like helps me as a writer. And again, it's a subjective approach. I like to know and plan and map out the entire story all the way to the end before I start writing one volume. So I know exactly how this is going to end. I know what's going to take place in volume 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's already written. The world building is already done. Now, obviously, things that will tweak along the way as the books come out. But yeah, I know exactly where this ends. I know what the middle is. And yeah,
guys, you know who gets their ass kicked.
Oh yeah, I know all of that. I know all of that. I know who dies. I know like all this stuff. Like so, yeah, for me it's like
joking. Somebody dies.
I don't even know if that's a spoiler, but yeah, it's to me, I hope I get the amount of time, and obviously it also depends on how well the book does. So again, this is another reason why supporting. If you like something, tell other people about it, because obviously the books are not doing well. It's hard to go to volume 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 up like that. So yeah, I hope people love it, and the more people love it, the more volumes will continue to come out, and the better the story will get. But I will say this though, and it feels like I say this all the time, but because it's true, this is my best work yet, and the reason why is because it's my latest work. I always try to outdo myself.
True.
And I'm really, really happy. And this is not even bragging. I can say that I have outdone myself on my previous work with the Asiri here.
That's the first thing I texted you when I read it. I'm like, this is your best work yet. Like it's not even, and this is not disrespecting your previous work.
It's not. It's just the way it should happen.
This is your best work yet. And it's so visual. Like a lot of the things happening there are so visual. I can't lie. This needs to be animated. What are Hope's plans? Have you already slid this over across to the people you're working with on Yanu to say, hey, is this going to be animated at some point? Here's future projects. Maybe let's see how this goes.
So first of all, before I talk about it, I want to give credit to the artist, right? I want to give credit to Samuel Iwunze and also obviously Tony Ajetumobi for who worked on the colors, and then Samuel worked on the arts. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Now, saying shout out to Sam and Toy, amazing stuff. I'm looking at it thinking this is beautiful.
Yeah, and even just the cover, right? That was Sukomi did the art and the inks on the covers, and then Etubi Onucheyo did the colors of the cover. Like so, yeah, it's visually stunning to look at. Just flipping page to page, even if you don't read a single dialogue, just looking at the book itself is a work of art. So I wanted to make sure I gave credit to the artist. But in terms to answer your next question about I can't say anything. You know that I can't say. I don't know why you try, but you know that I can't say anything. But I will say that I'm trying. Let me just put it there.
We'll take this off the recording later. All I know is you see that on my back there? What's that?
Yes, Attack on Titan.
This should be a post. This cover, because that cover,
it's amazing.
Cover in particular, it's like literal gods. It's like men versus gods.
Yeah,
with even bigger gods. It's such a beautiful cover. I'm thinking that needs to be on my wall somewhere at some point.
Yeah, so it's amazing.
We'll talk. I don't care if you print just one. But yeah, this has been great. Honestly, anybody out there watching, I'm telling you, if you're a fan of work by Roye Okupe, if you're a fan of work by YouNeek Studios, you want to read the Asiri. Okay, not only read it, you want to dive into it. You want to cosplay it. There's some characters there that I'm just thinking, man, this would be an amazing cosplay. I can see this. Yeah. You want to do all this. You want to get out there. Be sure you're following at YouNeek Studios everywhere. Look them up on Amazon. Go into, coincidentally, today we're recording this. This is Free Comic Book Day. So yeah, go to your comic book stores and look for ways to pre-order the comic book, and you can get your own copy. Yeah. Hey, Roy, you want to sign off real quick?
No, just again, it's great to be back doing the show with you. Obviously, once again, you can follow us at YouNeek Studios on all our platforms. You can also join our newsletter, which is another yet another way to get in touch with not just us but me. Like I always try to reply to the responses on the newsletter. So yeah, go to our website and join the newsletter, and can't wait to share more with you guys.
Yes, indeed. And you can follow me, find me. I am at the Niger Nerds. As far as this group, basically, I created this group just so I could get to talk to people like you, because I love stuff. I love the behind the scenes stuff, stuff I like. Love it. So shout out to you guys for the great work you're doing. Big ups to Dark Horse and their partnership with you. Can't wait to see what you were working on with Cartoon Network and Max. Honestly excited for the future.
Thank you. All right, guys. Peace.